Alright guys, so swiftly moving onwards, the next thing I want to talk to you guys about and overall walk through is going to be clip dimensions. And overall, what that encompasses is how to change the position, how to change the rotation, and how to change the scale. These are the key things we're going to be looking at, and we're going to be revisiting our talking head example to begin with, because I know there's some hands-on examples of how we can really apply this here. And then what I'm going to actually do, guys, is include a nice mini exercise for you later on in this section to rework through all this stuff hands-on together, and we're going to do exactly what we kind of did in the introduction section, where I provided you guys downloadable clips and the resources and go over and just kind of further cement this into your mind by working through it together. But first off, let me give you a demonstration. So here is our talking head example. It is obviously just me saying a couple random things about who I am, and then we edit on visual representation to what I'm saying, aka B-roll. However, this is some pretty boring B-roll other than this directed by ItsJackCole, because that's taken from a music video, so there's already movement in there, and overall, it definitely looks nicer than this still screen record of Premiere Pro, and it looks better than this still image of me on my YouTube channel, or just my YouTube channel. So let's go ahead and walk through this and see what we can do to liven up this using the clip dimensions up in effect control. So for example, if we select this, you could see the clip dimensions, and we briefly did a little bit here to make this look better, but let's get started. So we may as well start from the beginning and see how we can go about this. So first off, what I'm going to go is to here. And you see here, this is just a screen record. You can see my windows down here, Premiere Pro, Skype, all this kind of unprofessional stuff, the time and the date down here. Overall, we want to get rid of this. So the way well, personally, I would go about doing this, and the way you guys can go about doing this as well, is to go over here to the scale. And these are the three key elements of clip dimensions: the position, the scale, and the rotation. So to focus on the scale here, just to single this one out right away, what I would start doing to perhaps get rid of this stuff down here, which is what I would want to do, is simply go here until your cursor changes from the regular cursor to this right here, and just go ahead and hold down and drag from side to side until the variables start changing and these numbers start changing, and we could just go ahead and drag this in until we can no longer see that bottom bar. Just like that, it looks like we have to bring it up to 109, and we have actually changed the scale to bring it back from where it was, which was here, which was looking pretty amateur and unprofessional. We could bring that all the way in to here. So where was that? That was 109, and at 109, that looks like a very nice crop to the screen, so that we're not actually seeing the kind of unprofessional computer stuff down there. And now if we were to give this a play here. Example here, my name's Jack. I'm a freelance video editor and videographer, as well as a YouTuber with 70,000. So that's looking much nicer. Now we still do have, you're right, a still image here, but it's kind of balanced out by the fact that obviously this guy's doing, I'm doing some editing here. The only thing now that I'm thinking about is this still image here, and also this ItsJackCole here, which has this kind of abnormality, which is the black bars at the top, whereas these shots here do not have those black bars at the top. So for consistency's sake, what I want to do here as well is come over to scale and just go ahead and mess with this guy here until we can actually adjust that so that it is no black bars showing on the top and the bottom, and it just says directed by ItsJackCole right there. And now if we were to give this a play, this is looking like a much more better fitting scaled sequence than it was before. It was looking like a much messier sequence before, because of the fact that obviously this guy right here had the stuff at the bottom which showed my windows, and this guy here had the black bars, and this guy here was okay, but only because we fixed him last time. For example, at any time you can reset the parameters of for example, the scale, the position, anything you want by simply going to the reset. And if we were to reset this one, that was the original. So I probably should have left that to this particular section because I was about to talk about it, but I think that was bothering me so much that I had to quickly fix that by bringing it to 120. But overall, that is all changed via the scale. So now that I've quickly gone over the scale, what I want to quickly revisit now is the position. Now the position is, of course, where it is positioned. Very straightforward indeed, but this particular clip here looks like a good example of how I could mess with the position. For example, since we brought this into 109, this is not a 1920 by 1080 or this is not correct dimensions, okay? So this is cut off over here. You can see, for example, if I were to go on 100%, or even if I were to go on 75% and just go ahead and press H, which is bringing up my hand tool. Oh, my bad. I started playing that. I could bring this up here to have a look that this is cutting it off. So if we go ahead and press fit, go over to position, and this right here, 960, is going to actually affect the X-axis, I believe. So it's going to, if we start tweaking this, just like we did here, hold that and start dragging. If we drag that all the way to the left, that's going to start bringing it that way. All the way to the right is going to start bringing it that way. And you see these blue lines are representative to where the dimensions end or begin. So for example, we've got loads over here on the left, which means we've got a lot of room to work with, but the blue line is just touching the end of this dimension here. So on the right-hand side, we don't have much to work with. So what I want to do here is go ahead and just bring this all the way over here so it's kind of in line with the project and with the effect controls. And then we could actually go on this axis here, bring that up, and actually just adjust that so it stops there at the top. Now if we give this a play, that is not cutting anything off on the side now, and overall it just looks a little bit better, and it's a little bit more fixed in place. Now, this guy is the next guy that is really bothering me, and I think what we need to do here is create a basic general example of a quick keyframe animation. And the way I'm going to do that is doing it by the scale again and quickly walking you through what it would look like to quickly do a scale in animation using the keyframes. And remember, we are going to get so much more thorough, so much more in depth into all these little mini tactics later on in their own designated section. But quickly, for example, just to add a little bit of movement, I think movement in every shot is so important. For example, if we were to go here, give this a play, you can see that there's movement there, and then no movement here. So that, for me at least, is kind of messing with my eyes a little bit, and I'm sure just for the average viewer, that is gonna mess with their eyes a little bit. So in terms of the clip dimensions, what we could do to take these clip dimensions to the next level is by going to the beginning of this clip right here, and actually going over here to toggle animation, which is to click a keyframe. And what is what that's gonna do is record and tell the program that this clip right here is at 120 scale. So it's gonna remember that. Okay, so anything that you have the toggle animation on is gonna remember that. So if we wanted to remember the position as well, we would click the toggle position. And now both of those are tracked. So that is set in stone that those are obviously at those dimensions at that point in time. So now, if we were to actually move along in the track to very close to the end, but not close enough to the end that we can't see it anymore, close enough right over here, we could actually make the scale, for example, 130, just by upping it by 10, and it would record the fact now that if we were to scroll all the way back here, you can see that scale working its way. If we go over here from 120, and now if we drag it across, it is recorded that it creates a movement up 10 scale to 130. And you see how we have done no variation to the position, therefore it is actually not recorded anything because it's at the same exact place where it was when we told it to remember where it is over here. So now, for example, if we just wanted to make this a little bit more kind of in line and a little bit more aesthetically pleasing, we could maybe bring my hood up in the banner by changing this axis, which we know is the up and down, and by just bringing that up a little bit so that you can fully see this here, but it's not obviously so much that you could see me behind there. So we bring that all the way up here, and now you see how I couldn't go fully to the last frame here because I didn't want to kind of hit the end and cut off. Okay, so I put these keyframes here. A simple thing we can do if we want this to go all the way through and not kind of be zooming in and then stop there is by highlighting these last two guys right here and just go ahead and dragging them to the very end. So now that is going to be one consistent motion throughout, and if we give that a play from here, that is now a nice bit of movement into the shot. And that is a nice, just sort of simple, but also starting to get advanced on the clip dimensions. And now we have a nice bit of movement in all of these scenes, overall improving our visual representation to what I was saying here, and also not only improving our visual representation to what I'm saying here, but overall improving your skill level a little bit. So if we go ahead and actually just give a play to this, we have created a general and a basic clip dimensions tweak, and we have overall improved this sequence that we built basically upon just earlier in this section, and we have amplified it to be a little bit better. And that is my whole idea for this, guys. Not to keep talking crazy, but we are going to keep on building on this talking head sequence and also keep on building on this promo video example sequence that we also created before, and amplifying them up and up and up, building them bigger and bigger and bigger, cooler and cooler with all the stuff that we keep learning throughout this course. So let's give that a play and see what it's looking like.
I hope you're enjoying the course up until this point. Again, just a refresher and example here. My name's Jack. I'm a freelance video editor and videographer, as well as a YouTuber with 70,000 subscribers, producing weekly content based around video production.
And that is it. Boom. We have simply concluded the basic overview right there of the clip dimensions. The only thing that I didn't quickly show you was the rotation. I didn't have an obvious enough area that I could have shown you, so I'll quickly show you here. If we were to rotate this a little bit by dragging it around, very basic, it is just a rotation. But the way I'm going to do this, and I'm going to go much more thoroughly into this, is in the mini example that I have lined up next, right after this, where I'm going to provide you guys some clips to download, and we're going to overall more thoroughly go over the clip dimensions, how to tweak them, and overall having you guys follow through with me.